we have a...
If I can just find...
Welcome to Nycos D&D. This is Roleplay Roulette. Welcome to our audience and welcome to our players. I'll have them introduce themselves in a moment once we figure out what their what game we're going to play. Today is Roleplay Roulette, or as the French don't say it, Roleplay Roulette. Of course they don't say that because... That's fine. Go ahead, pull out your pistol, knock yourself out, I win.
Okay.
The way it starts.
Road the 500. Road the 600. Yep.
Forward the 600. That's the first stanza.
Thank you.
I think I lost.
Yes. All right, here we go. Spinning the wheel of doom.
Spinner of fire. The fire.
Interact. There's the button. Here we go. Spin, 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 spin. Sort of, but I'm not doing that one again. We already did. Really?
In other words, you got 6 guns.
No, I
got right or left.
No,
right or left.
Yeah, fair enough. But I know I spun Dino Swamp, and Steven's not even here, and he's the one that wanted me to add that. So.
Dino Swamp.
I already have my character ready.
All right, but I pulled Dark Shards.
Ah, yes.
Hooray!
First time we get to see a glimpse of the 9th iteration.
Dark Shards. It's better than trying to find colored shards.
Nice.
I'm
yes.
playing a spellcaster.
Defender, cop,
Paladin.
executor, executioner, or you have your herald, your face, your manipulator, what do you call it, person who messes with other people's minds.
Charlie of the chair of the angels.
They could be. There's also the let me pull it up instead of sitting here guessing. I guess there's nobody coming.
So that would... okay. So that will work, I guess. It was actually originally designed for, but I can't do him in this now.
Why can't you? I mean,
Any other name would still smell like shit.
this is like whose line is it anyway? The story is all made up, and the numbers don't mean
Points
anything.
don't matter.
Points don't
Okay,
matter.
so I guess I can do a video without messing with...
Yeah, just have Xavier as his name,
Look,
and
this is what he was doing when he disappeared from the train last week.
yeah, he jumped forward. Here we go.
I totally forgot what the hell I'm supposed to be doing this.
What's that music from?
I don't know. It wasn't done very well.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Dragon, what was the video game? The video game that came out on Laserdisc first. First Laserdisc video game.
Dragon's Lair?
Alright, here we go.
You know, it's not quite how it's spelled, but I don't...
It
Is
don't
anyone
matter.
familiar with the analysis of Bartok voting from Microcosmos, Volume 5, number 125, measures 1 through 10?
My answer is the answer I learned from watching MASH. Ah, Bach. Put that down on your paper. Just put that.
Bartok.
Exactly. Just say that. That'll solve it. Okay. So Warden, beyond Warden is the Tinker.
I think that's actually what I'll be, because I think that's what I was going for.
Beyond Tinker is Scoundrel. Scoundrel to Rider. Riders are basically people that cover large distances, tend to be worldly or wagon, ridden any kind of beast. Gene, that's what she could be. Or a scout. The scout's more particular about discovery, tends to be and heralds, then magi.
Herald is the talk one.
So you want to go with okay? So going back to Scott, since Scott's already jumped on the board, go ahead and introduce yourself, Scott, as just what you think you're going to be, and we'll go with the rest of it here in a minute.
Okay, so my name is Xavier.
Hello.
I'm going to be. Don't really harm, but.
Well, there's actually a big list of things that you can choose within that, so I'll come back to that in a second. But
Hello?
yeah, you're there, Gene. We got you.
Yeah.
Somehow nothing's showing. Oh, there. Finally, it showed around my name. Okay.
Yeah, the line shows up arbitrarily. It's not necessarily looking at the actual speaker.
Mine's been pretty consistent about that.
Ah, okay. Maybe your machine's faster or whatever.
Well, two things. It is a fast machine, and I have 300 DPS download. I mean, my internet is 300
Megabytes.
Nice.
megabytes.
No, just say 300.
That means
Whatever it is.
Your internet is fast.
My internet is. Oh, they do offer me 1,000, but I just don't want to pay another, $50 a month.
But can your
650 watt, and I can't remember what my motherboard. It's an i7 motherboard.
I will investigate your computer and I will.
My
Find
friend
out
can
the
tell you. I have a.
Well, and
Probably brought it up just about as fast as it could be when
you,
I bought the
Gene,
card.
you totally need to see Ready Player One. Just listening to you talk just sounds like you live in the world of.
Learned from my friend who built my computer. So I went out and bought all the components. Of course, he lives with me. Brought them home, and he assembles them all. I have a half a terabyte of solid state RAM for my base program.
Show off.
Well, no.
Yeah, well, I have 3 terabit hard drives, two of them. I have a 1080 Ti for my graphics card, an i9 8700K for my CPU. What? I can flex too,
Somebody's
And I flex harder.
Somebody's overcompensating. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh
yeah. Well, Travis, tell him what I have, because I have no idea.
He's got 2 1070s in SLI AMD on a 990 FX Sabertooth Edition 2 motherboard, 16 gigs of RAM.
Yeah, see?
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm just waiting
and
to tell
Scott and Scott's got a computer too.
Yeah, I am.
He's got more horsepower than all of us, so.
Yeah.
Nee.
Yeah, see? Meow, see? All right, through these real quickly. What did you decide, Gene? We all looked at it and said, "Oh, she's a writer." But that's
yeah, but a writer I just don't see a big thing for them. I mean, I can write. Whoopee!
point A to point B. It's how information gets carried. You can be
Yeah.
a caravan guard, or a minister, or a diplomat. You could be an attaché from a government quickly from place to
I
place.
just don't see a lot of breadth in that.
Okay,
In that.
you're that's fine.
What else is there? There's
So you have the warden. That's
Okay.
your fighter.
Well, let me
You
go.
have-
Let me go through.
I'm looking at it right now.
Okay. I know,
You
so
got the scoundrel, which is your pickpocket. You got the rider, which deals with all of. It's kind of like the driver for the other ones. You deal with all transportation, as well as the cool horse tricks. You also have like magical abilities that help you commune with your horses, whatever. You can be a scout, which is the infiltrator and magi, and tinker.
And
How about a writer with scouting?
you could actually pick 3 times, so you could have 3 different schools of skills.
So you can be a writer. So this is what it says about a writer who is an agent. It is a business and financial aspects rolled into one. An agent represents. No, that's the wrong one.
No, that's
I'm
not the one.
looking at
Outrider, a carrier, and at the behest of virtually anyone of power, a harrier is not only a messenger but a bearer of ill tidings. Dangers come simply by being the messenger of those ill tidings or of threats and aggression.
Okay, I think I know where I'd build it. I'd go Scout, Warrior, Rider. If those are the 3 levels.
Yep. Scout would be your primary. Sure. And then
Scout would be my primary. Warrior would be the second. And
okay.
maybe Rider my second and Warrior my last.
Okay. So
I'll think about that.
no problem. Under Scout, let's go back to that for just a second. Under Scout, you can be an explorer. You can be. What's so nice about Scout is Scout also draws on the shady side of the line. Maybe you're a convict or you broke an oath or something, and so you're good at scouting only because you're trying not to get caught. The opposite of what you would think. You're actually the guy who's trying not to get caught. Or you could be an interpreter and trader, or you could be a ranger or landwalker. The idea is that you're traveling the world trying to see it all. Or you could be a spy or infiltrator, a tour guide or exegete. You're someone who actually does this for other people or to lead them. Or you can be a trailblazer or vanguard. Usually that associates you with a governmental system or whatever, where you're doing it on contract.
Okay.
So those are the options for Scout. So you got a lot to do with Scout.
You kind of have all the ranger skill abilities.
Right.
Yeah, I could see.
All right.
I might even make it Scout, Rider, Warrior in that order.
Abilities. Aether, power of Amba.
Right.
Power of Avia.
Hey, you can
The
choose.
Limb Ball.
That's right. As a cadre, you're building this collectively together. So how do these 3 folks know each other? Okay, we didn't go through the Tinker stuff because there's a lot of options for that. You thought immediately of Gadgeteer, but there's actually a bunch of different options for Tinks. So let me go back up here.
He's a fixer.
Well, you can be an artifixer, which means you make prosthetics and workarounds. That's the juries making false forms, interpreting arcane documents. Usually gives you an edge on understanding languages, because even if it's not a language you know, you can actually start to piece it together from bits and pieces. The Gadgeteer makes and repairs regular tools. So a Gadgeteer makes the stuff that makes other stuff. And Gadgeteers can work for other groups. So you could be a Gadgeteer for... somebody wants a crossbow that fires multiple times or whatever, that kind of thing. Then there's hexcrafters. That means that they actually work with magicals in standard. Whether specifically magical or no, tools and toys of the mystical arts need to be adjusted and aligned sometimes. So hexcrafter has basically a built-in economy, because whenever you go to a town, you can offer your services as a hexcrafter to fix their magic. Then there's Slylock, and that's building locks, mechanisms, traps, working mechanisms for the discreet and the discerning. They also are pretty good at picking locks and opening difficult and complex traps and such. Then there's the Snap.
Good with the rogue.
Yes, that makes a great combination with somebody with a scoundrel background. There's also the Snap Trapper. This guy builds traps and distractions, creates clever contraptions that capture criminals or vanquish vermin. Because of this talent, they tend to also be pretty good at disarming, detecting, that kind of thing. And then there's the Wackadoo. And the Wackadoo literally can make anything out of anything. This is he's never without options.
Yes, and I'm trying to remember how I originally built this character now. I want to say it was either Slylock or Wackadoo, but Wackadoo doesn't sound right.
Well, you sound like a document the way you're currently playing.
Because I'm still trying to keep the current deal where I don't get. So we'll do Documenter as my primary critique. Maybe a little bit of Warden.
Wilders, Berserkers, they just like killing. They tend to have patience issues. Berserker usually tend to prefer 2-weapon style. Then you've got your Cavalier Knight, who tends to prefer the classic contest type fights. So lances and shields and that kind of thing. Then there's the Guardians or Protectors. Those are your cops. you're usually assigned to, you work for somebody, or you can actually be a contractor, kind of like a Ronin. You're just a warrior
Yeah.
who's trying to protect. If you went with that and with the Slylock, a Slylock hunter can be really nasty because they can set the traps to take down the monsters and the creatures they go after. Then there's marksman or sniper. That's usually an archer of some sort. It could be longbow, short bow, crossbow. Atlatl, fighting with the finesse weapons, preferring a man-to-man fight over mass fighting. And then there's the pugilist or monk, the idea that you can actually use your body as a weapon.
I'm gonna make it Xavier. Let's actually go with the Hunter Slylock combo and
Okay,
Doug.
on the same field. Travis, did you want anything other than? I mean, you're more than adequate as that goes. But did you have a?
I'm good. I'm going
Which-
to be a
which-
mage.
But which school? You can take up to 3 of them per field, but under abilities you got, as you said, the different schools. They go down.
Okay. So which sparks I want to choose?
Yes.
So, I guess I'll do Power of Limbra.
Limbra.
eh, Power of Aether and Power of Avia.
All right. Cool. Alrighty.
So air, limb, and Aether.
Yes. Aether's the spirit realm.
You could say I'm very aloof.
Yes, a little distant. Kind of shift in and out of reality. Nice. All right. So with those things, how do we know each other? How did this cadre form? Let's review. You got a Skylock Hunter that's going to go really well with the rangery direction that Gene was going.
Yeah, so I see it as maybe we were tracking something. Both tracking the same creature, and that's how we met, but then maybe this is me that's surmising. Maybe what we were tracking also had some magical.
Maybe I asked you to hunt something down and I needed the info on it or something for my researches.
Yeah, that could work.
And how would you know me? Maybe there's a piece of information that has to be brought from another place.
Well,
Or
yeah, I would actually go to where Scott was kind of headed and take that, the idea that your rangery tracking stuff can get you into the place that you need to go to. So think along the lines of, we have found where the let's go with the
well, she's gonna help them find the creature. He's gonna know how to kill it, and I'm the one that needs it dead.
I'm okay.
sounds good.
Sorry, I also just watched Willow the other night, so it was like.
You're Mad
how do we
Mardigan.
get-
How do what?
How do we get into?
Dusty map.
and it might be important for the local king or whatever that he completes his mission. So I've been kind of assigned to the task.
Sure.
Help to make sure it gets done.
Yes. Well, as a cadre, this isn't it may or may not be a one-time thing. We may end up seeing these guys at some other point. But yeah, so let me pull up my map so that I can, let's see, close the wheel, turn on the map instead. Map. Okay, so we are in the edge of Tralora. Tralora or Tralora is known to be a land of shadows from which smoke and mist emanates constantly.
Okay.
It's one of the few places where the Undren and Trelorans actually interact with the surface. It's
I'm
not
gonna change one thing on my character real quick.
Sure.
just for fun.
sure.
I'm gonna add, instead of the third ability,
Uh-huh.
instead of doing Avia, I'm gonna go with the Crystal Slinger.
Oh, nice. Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah.
So the issue
Right
is
up
that
your line.
yeah, exactly. The Vale of Tra-Lara is literally the gateway to the Everdark, and what we're in particular looking for is something known as the Eyes of Cabal. It's a magical item that used to belong to the people of Bailiwick. Long ago, it was they stood in the statue of Cabal in the capital city, and the reason why you particularly want to get them is that it's said that they are capable of seeing the future. And
Okay.
this, what have we got for names? We got Xavier. What have we got for Travis and Jean as far as character names?
Working on that.
Okay. Anyway, in this Vale of Tra-Lara, there are two towers that stand on opposite sides of a river. The legend is that the two were at one time closest of friends, and even arguably potentially might have been brothers. But Orthon and Bathan had a bit of a conflict at some point in the past, and in their rage towards one another, they built these towers in close proximity to each other so they could see what the other was doing, so to speak. But at the same time, they eventually became the salient in one of the past wars. What a nice image, Travis. That's very nice.
Thank you.
Jean, is that your steed, I take it?
Yes. No, actually, what she has is in a period. It's a windwalker. Where it can fly, it can walk on the wing for a short time each day. I don't know if I can have a fantasy steed.
Of course you can.
Well, then that's my steed. He's called Fire Ice.
There you go. Cool.
All right.
And realize that these characters are not like Dungeons and Dragons characters where you've literally got to start at the beginning. Tell me a little bit about what you already have as far as standard moves, gizmos, gimmicks, that kind of thing, so I have an idea of what to work with as far as what your opposition will have.
All right.
So your steed, when it walks on air, is it actually transiting to the plains of Avia?
No, it's actually physically just kind of running on the air. The air becomes a solid surface under its feet.
Okay, sounds good. So that actually puts the breed as a Morian or a Morian steed.
Morian steed. Okay.
That also means it can communicate and it is telepathic to you.
Yes.
All right. So let's see.
Now the Morians, we have something called corn. They're horn seeds, but they have various styles of horns, but not the unicorn. I don't think this one shows as a unicorn. No. I think it looks like it's just a head of a horse. Yeah. Okay, fine. That's
Okay.
what it is.
And does it have? But it's not winged. It's just a standard horse.
Yeah, it is a horse. It's not winged. It doesn't need wings because it goes the other way.
Right. It's a glider rather than a flyer. It can walk
Yeah.
up on the air. Yeah. That aether walk is. That wind walk is a thing. So.
My name is Ilumaril.
Ilumaril.
Really?
Nice.
In old D&D, they were called a Piri. Old D&D, they were in the book. The original, way back when book, but
Uh-huh.
probably two, maybe. And anyway, it was like in the Monster Manual, and they were called a Piri.
Mm-hmm.
And they look like horses?
Sure. Usually they had multiple legs, though. They had like 6 legs or something instead.
No, they just
No,
have four
just
legs.
yours, John.
Just mine? Okay.
It's just yours.
John always thinks everything has more legs than it does.
Yeah.
So,
Do you know why the 4 legs are usually used? They're the most efficient mode of transportation, especially for speed. And the things that needed speed survived because they were 4-legged. Any other variations died.
Right.
so,
So, Xavier.
yeah. I see myself as having a longbow and all sorts of tools to
Yeah,
I
you have basically like the Batman utility belt
yeah.
Oh.
I'm-
with all
Go
kinds
ahead.
of gizmos and gimmicks and bits and pieces and tools and all the little things to make your
He
trap.
has a robe with pockets of many things.
That too.
And he
Yeah,
picks up things and puts it here and goes, where did I put that?
Pat in his pockets trying to figure out which one it's in. Yeah.
I'm seeing myself as a ranger using a longbow, but I don't know whether that would be too cumbersome for this.
Well, no, because you obviously have horses. So
Yeah, so.
I'm
Hey, John.
Hey, Jacob, we'll get to you in just a second. We're in the middle of something, but I'll come right back to you, Jacob. I promise.
Okay.
Yeah, so...
I just want to say hi.
Oh, thank you, and welcome. Start thinking about what kind of character you want to play. We're playing Dark Shards today. So
Dark
that's... Yeah, it's basically a preview of 9th iteration Nycos. So we're jumping forward in time and changing the mechanics. So I would imagine that you would more than likely want to play a warden, probably a guardian.
I thought we were doing the roleplay roulette.
That we did, and we already spun the wheel, and the wheel brought up Dark Shards.
So I have to create my character, or
Well, we're doing it right now verbally with everybody. So your basic backgrounds are warrior, scout, I'm scoundrel, magi,
Well,
Harold.
well, I
herald.
just want to see what you guys doing. Well, I'm not going to play. I'm taking a break.
Oh, okay. You're more than welcome to just sit in. That's
Chat.
fine. Yep, that's fine. Welcome aboard.
But is the kick I listen?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Sure.
You can actually,
Yeah.
yeah. This is. You're more than welcome. All right. So Xavier, going back to where we were. So you've got what's your steed? What do you imagine to be riding or walking? You don't have to ride it. It could be you might have a yak. I don't know.
I'm trying to think of, would it be possible for me to have a tiger, or I'm trying to think of a jungle-based steed because I see myself as
A jungle-based steed would be an elephant or a rhino or.
let's go with a rhino. I like the idea of riding a rhino.
Okay. Do you want a full-size one or you want a minimal? There's actually a sub race of beings of creatures on Nycos
You
called
mean the
minimals.
pygmy one?
Yes, it's like
Yeah,
the
but
size.
it really is pygmy. It's probably not much bigger than 3 feet at the shoulder.
No, this one could be 6 or 8 feet long. It's almost like a pony, but it's sturdy enough to ride on.
I'm gonna go full size because I want to make a big impression.
You want to make a big impression? Yes, walking into town, leading a rhino, or riding on the back of a rhino, that would definitely draw attention. Yes. And I could see that also be the situation where you're doing all these little things, and they go, no, we're trapping something big, and you go, good, at least I can pull the carcass with this thing. Sounds good. What's your rhino's name? Of course, you know what you get when you cross an elephant with a rhino, don't you?
Oh God, no! I have to name him Elefino. Dang it!
Elefino. No.
Elefino.
Oh my God! Yes, okay, we're doing this.
What is it? If I have it, but if I give it when I have it, it has value. When I give it to you, it's nothing. What is it?
I can't say.
I know you can't say. You literally can't say.
God, I don't know this.
Well, it's a secret.
Oh
But you
yeah.
can tell us,
yeah.
John.
No, I'm sorry. It's a secret.
No,
It's-
please,
it's
come on.
really-
Just
oh
tell
God!
us.
It's real. Okay, it's that thing again. Okay.
Yes, I saw Mirror Mask, and so that was the first thing I grabbed too. So
Look, an
You
You
idiot.
are.
what's green that hangs on the wall and hums?
God, I haven't seen your mask yet. So.
A parrot.
A parrot. But why is it hanging on the wall? I nailed it there, of course. But parrots don't hum. I just added that to make it more difficult.
No, it's actually a herring, but it's
Okay.
like herrings aren't green. Well, I painted it green.
Oh God. Okay. All right. So
Herring
Ilu.
doesn't whistle. Sorry, I just added that to make it harder.
Oh, it's another of the Sunstrider clan. I see. Is that Rael?
Yep, Rael,
All right.
daughter of the sun.
All right. So Rael, Ilu, and Xavier walk into a bar. No.
Ow!
Wait,
or-
how to?
I
why
rolled
are
a dodge.
Yeah, exactly.
I killed the table because it's obviously. But
One thing that the horse has is it can tend to camouflage. It can shift from lighter to darker and mottled if it needs be. It's a great horse for a ranger.
Sounds good.
Um,
It's it's of an Eldrin breed.
Chameleon. It can go to a chameleon effect.
Yes, but due to its size, it'll be slight. It won't be
No,
absolute.
but maybe I can make it,
As purple as the picture. Yep, you can if you want.
No, I was thinking, actually, the critter is kind of like fire tinged ice. Oh well,
Sure,
fire ice.
sure.
Okay.
All right. So we are headed for the Vale of Trelora. Now we're currently, what's the name of the port that's near there? Dale, spelled Dhale, just to be different. Dale is on the edge of the Dolgellum, which is basically a land known to be populated by Urgluk and various kinds of monstrous beings and such. And so
You
a
never
lot
asked
of
me how I'm getting there.
Oh yes, please. We haven't gotten to that point yet.
I'm riding on a barrel
A barrel.
all the way to Dale.
Nice. Your animal's name is a barrel. Okay.
No, I'm probably riding or flying on a crystal or something.
I was thinking along the lines of the villain from, or even Doc Strange, to kind of just put your arms out and just kind of hover, float along,
Yeah.
because you're.
Probably my shoes have like crystals in the bottom. So
There you go. There you go. So there's like a glow under your feet. Cool. Nice. Alrighty. So the three of you are setting out. Is there? You've had plenty of time together. Whatever gear is necessary. So it's assumed you have everything you need to go on this little adventure. You are entering this Vale of Trelora. Any particular pre-travel magics that you guys want to invoke, you can do that as well.
Okay.
So, is there anything in particular you'd want to, like defenses that you want to put up or whatever as you're entering into this rather scary environment?
Protection from evil.
Okay.
Um,
Is
I
that
might-
is that an area effect that you're providing it for the whole group, or is that just
Yes.
your personal?
No, I should do it for 30 feet. So if they stay within 30 feet, it's protection from evil. And it's specific to evil.
I am going to give everybody a bracelet with limb writing on it that
Nice.
has a connection to each of us, so that it is create a secure connection between two or more objects of pure magical energy, so that we can communicate through these
Nice.
wrists.
Nice.
Okay.
Very
so-
good.
And let me see, what else can I do? For now, that's what I'm doing.
All right. Sounds good. Alrighty. So, who's taking point?
I do.
Yeah, of course you do. I knew you would. Okay. So as you're trotting into the forest,
Oh, and each one has a crystal in it as well. That hums.
And
I think-
she's armed with a.
is it green and hangs on a wall and hums?
Yeah. Could be brown though.
It's a
She's armed with a horseman's bow.
okay.
Okay.
So-
It does the damage of a longbow, but it's especially got a shorter arm on one end.
It's called in Japanese history. It's called a daikyu.
Daikyu. Yes, I'm familiar with
Yes. Alrighty. So the forest that you're entering, at one time more than likely was a deciduous forest. It has the irregular branches and such, but the Vale of Trelora has been so long under shade that traditional leafy trees wouldn't survive, and so most of the trees are leafless and for the most part seem or appear to be dead. The living material that does give cover from above is along the lines of mistletoe. It's a parasitic life form. In certain cases, it does look startlingly like mistletoe in that it's got little white berries on it and that kind of thing. But there are also other varieties and types of these creatures, some of which, most of which actually manifest looking like clumps of or bulbs of spiderweb-like material and drifting and hanging down below, kind of like willow branches.
it. Okay. She has Fire Eyes lifts himself off the ground so she moves silently, just enough to clear the ground. And he's not tripped up or trapped.
Oh,
She has
okay.
them slightly in the air.
All right. So as you're traveling into this murky environment, the distance that you can see ahead of you is reduced to something less than a couple hundred yards. It varies a little bit because the mists actually have a thready, ribbon-like appearance. In some places very dense and almost ephemeral, and other places it's completely see-through, translucent, and yet wavers, causing distortions of the view beyond that point. The sounds of life are muted. In the distances you can hear random calls of different kinds of creatures and beasts, and some of
Anything familiar, or is it just all different?
what do you mean by familiar? There's
Is it? Shall we say? Is it some of the more common creatures
Yes.
that you would expect to hear?
hoot owls and cries of different kinds of birds and such. You'll
Okay.
hear
Are any of them artificial?
do not appear to be at this point. No, they seems to be of natural origin. If you're referring to like automata and stuff, there's nothing that gives off anything other than the sounds of what would be nature. But most of it again is muted. Even in the best of conditions, Tralara is a place of shadows and murkiness. So you wouldn't expect, for example, to find like
A verdant grove or
right, or parrots, or or toucan, that kind of bird. But you might find owls, certainly crows, red-winged blackbirds, that kind of thing. As you're moving into this, the trail itself is it was at one time a road. You can see that appear from place to place along the pathway. You'll find what appear to be hex-shaped stones laid edge to edge, like a paving. But most of that's actually covered by debris and overgrowth and the detritus of seasonal changes and such. The air is moderate in temperature. There are occasional bursts or blasts of cold air. The wind does not follow the traditional uniform. It's not like a breeze, but it's literally that every once in a while there'll be a puff of cold that just blows past you, chilling you to the bone.
Does it seem to come from anywhere in particular?
No, not in the visual
just
realm.
a natural.
It's a natural byproduct of stuff in this forest. Yes.
Okay.
There are known to be forces at work that come from the necromantic side of the line, and several creatures of Umber live here as well. So.
The Umber is a shadowland.
Mm-hmm.
all right. So
Ilu's going to hum a little melody that is repeated by the crystals in their bracelets and just makes them feel a bit warmer.
Nice.
all right.
That does take the chill off. It also adds a little bit of morale modifier as well, because it's comforting to hear that, because you're more feeling it through the gem on your wrist than you are actually hearing it, because you wouldn't want to be making too much noise. But
Yeah.
but
So
It's kind of like a tune that both sounds warm and just makes you feel warm, like you're drinking hot soup on a cool
Nice.
winter's evening.
nice.
A nice spice mulled wine.
Nice.
What's that one? The Campbell's jingle during that old commercial where the kid comes in as a
Good.
snowman. Yeah, that's
good.
what it is.
That's what Campbell soup is. Good. It's a mini song. Those of you that are familiar with which movie was that? I can't believe my brain is doing this to me lately. Maybe I'm not getting enough
Wait,
vitamins or whatever.
I haven't
more
taken my
vitamins.
vote.
Demolition Man. Mini tunes.
I need to.
Speaking of vitamins, I'm going to take mine.
Yeah, there you go.
So
So as you're passing along here, Rael, you are a master scout. You would normally have a 95% chance of finding anything that's blatant, but there's actually something here that's been hidden at a 65. So your modifier will be 30%, unless you want to add some particular skill from your broad skill set to improve that. So you think about what your character role is, and is there anything about that character role that should give you an improved modifier?
Yes, my attention to detail.
There we go.
And-
Okay, so
and observation of things that are not what I
okay,
think.
this comes from your scout, so that'll give you an additional 45, so it's 75% or less.
Okay. Dum. 18.
Alrighty, so just ahead of you, you notice that there is some sort of creature's path that crosses the main road at a diagonal, basically coming from your left, heading to your right at about a 40-degree angle, crossing the main road.
Okay.
Whatever it is was attempting to hide its pathway, but the very attempt to hide its pathway is what revealed the actual course, because it usually looks like either a tail sweep or a brush or something to occlude the pathway, actually identifying it as across the road.
Oh, so
And so it's that cross hatching of ground that is at an angle that it shouldn't be. And she goes, "Oh, interesting." She does dismount.
Okay. Also, the size of it indicates that the path being covered or occluded is wide enough to be either something a horse or something that approximates maybe 2 or 3 people traveling abreast.
So Ilu's going to speak into his crystal communicator. Why aren't we stopping?
There are tracks here of something that has crossed the path and went so far as to try to cover its tracks. And she kind of points to one place. It came in here, it looks like, and is traveling that way.
Are we not in a strange jungle? Is it not probable that a creature would hide its tracks?
No, creatures don't usually hide their tracks.
Fair enough.
They walk.
Right, and natural creatures would also not have to make marks, make an attempt to hide their path, because most of them, if they are non-predatory, tend to walk lightly, so to speak, kind of like a deer,
Yeah.
But this is bigger.
could this be what we've been tracking?
Well,
So,
you're going to an actual location, so no.
But it is something that could be as big as a horse, or at least as wide as a horse.
Ilu's going to hover just above where she's looking at these tracks and make a sharp whistle sound and produce a crystal out of his palm that produces a very focused cone of light to illuminate just the area, but won't
Nice.
spread out everywhere else, so it's not going to show
Nice.
everyone in the jungle where we are. But
Yes, so that's 95%.
lets her see it.
95%. Roll under 95%.
For me?
Yeah.
22.
All right. So not only does the beam of light show in that direction, but it also indicates that there is a glistening liquid on some of the branches further in. So whatever it was didn't leave the fluid here by where it crossed over, but further into the forest, it looks like it might be either bleeding or expelling some kind of fluid from its surface.
Do you recognize the fluid?
No, but I
Not,
think
not at this range. She'd have to investigate.
I
also-
will investigate.
Also, Xavier has particular skills that might be useful in this endeavor as well.
Yeah, so I'm gonna also follow and see what I could glean as well.
Yep. All right. So, with your experience in dealing with traps and different kinds of creatures that you've hunted before, that would be a 60% for you with the modifier due to the attempt to hide it. So 60% for you, Xavier.
I'm at 35.
All right. So yes, it's clearly bleeding from a wound to its upper body. The spatter on the branches indicate that it's falling from above, which based on the size, actually this would be a modifier with Rael's information. So Rael, also roll. Yours in this case would be 60 as well.
Would my light give them any sort of help?
Yeah, I wasn't sure whether you followed along with them or if you were just holding it from the roadway.
33.
Yeah, I'll follow along with them.
Okay. Yep. So he actually improved your odds quite a bit. So yeah, the blood. It's definitely blood, but it's not of a human creature. It's something of possibly, you can't really tell species from blood, of course, but given the spatter and stuff, the injury looks like it might be in the head or the neck of whatever was traveling through here.
So,
Is it normal blood or is it of some sort of other nature?
Well, you're
Yeah.
you're currently using standard light, so it wouldn't give any like particular iridescence or whatever. Of course, you can shift that light to a different prismatic
Well,
effect.
he's going
or-
to he's gonna look in with his aether sight to see if it has any sort of aether
Nice.
traces
Okay,
on it.
so in aether sight, the the blood itself seems to still be alive. The actual individual spatters actually are congealing very slowly, but you were able to perceive it, that there's something that's animating the blood itself.
There seems to be some sort of aether connection between the blood still. It seems to be accumulating back together at a very, very slow pace. That's very strange and interesting indeed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it something you wish to pursue, or do we leave it?
Okay, to be able to actually triangulate and calculate, each of you has a 35% chance. If you each roll roll percentage dice, the combined total, if it goes over 100, you'd be able to tell what this creature was.
I rolled 39.
Ooh, I screwed it up. I rolled 84.
Oof.
I screwed up too, 40.
No.
Not as
It's
bad as me.
not as bad. She rolled a 30 something. Yeah. So, but there's only one success. So you can't tell the
I'm
species.
focusing too much on the aether plane. I forgot to switch back to
Right,
Earth,
right.
so-
Yeah, exactly. Well, he's trying to follow that line, is going, oh, it's a spiritual being. What kind of spiritual being could do this? Nope, got nothing. But there is enough to suggest that this might be an Urgluk. Something from the Dolgul fields might have crossed over.
The what field?
The Dolguls, the Dogelum, the land to the north of here is full of Urgluks and other beast creatures. This looks like it might be some form of Urgluk, but it has a spiritual angle, so that's why it defies quite your description.
Okay, so when Xavier's gonna take out a vial and Barry take it cautiously, unless either of these two objects take a little bit of this blood for further examination.
Yeah, you can
Allow
actually.
me to help you.
You can just.
He'll use some of his magics to lift the blood out, so he doesn't have to touch it with his hands.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say all it does is reach underneath one of the leaves and kind of fold the leaf so the stuff congeals even faster, and then kind of can pour it.
Yeah.
Now, as it pours into the vial, you notice that it almost seems to resist gravity. It's like trying not to fall, but it still has to follow the rules of gravity, and eventually it plunks down into the vial. So there's about probably 2 ounces of it in the bottom of your vial.
Okay, you'll cork it and be like,
Elu is going to do one of those little slight rings of limb around the edge of the vial. So
Nice.
that
So he
cuts
seals
off
it.
from-
Well done. He seals.
'Cause I've seen that done before in
Yes,
Nycos.
that's totally the right thing to do. So he seals it with just a touch of liminal metal encircles the cork as you seal it. Once it's inside the space, it does appear to reach out almost like with pseudophalange and try to climb the inside of the glass, but it can't climb. So it's just like reaching up the insides.
How very interesting.
yes. I was more taking it for a component of this, but this
Right.
could,
You're going, ooh, it's a component. It's a live component. Oh no.
this may be something I may have you study, Elio, just to see if it has what properties it has and if it might be dangerous, because I don't want to mess with something too dangerous. But let's move on.
All right.
Tell me-
So he's staring at his little vial as you guys. Are you going to continue to follow the path that the blood leads, or are you going down the main
Yeah.
road? All right. So we're now following the creature. So I'm going to need a tracking percentage from you. Again, you're 95%, but it's attempting to conceal, but not very well because it is bleeding and can't prevent that. So minus 20. So 75% again, Gene.
Elu's gonna try to assist her by watching for any signs in the aether zone, because the blood shows up a little bit differently there.
Fair enough. So you're going to use Aether Sight again.
48.
Just if she needs the help.
Gotcha.
If not, he's just gonna keep his eyes out to see if there's any
Got you. You got a 38? Okay, so as you look out with Aether Sight, you're kind of surprised, but not really, to see these odd bat-like creatures hanging in the trees up above that are creatures of Aether. They actually are staring down at you with 8 eyes each. Kind of like they have like a spider-like head on a bat-like body.
He's gonna try to ignore that and just keep looking for the blood down the ground.
It's like, yeah.
Avert thine eyes.
Whatever you do, don't look up there. You don't want to see that.
Nope, he has his hand above his eyes as a visor to keep sure he's looking down.
Yeah.
Pay no attention to the horrors above you.
Yes. So.
Can only he see these things, or
No, he can point them out. He can point them out. No, they're okay. They are living creatures. They just are living on the edge of the Aether.
So then he'll mention into the crystal, if any of you guys look at Aether stuff, just don't look up. It's fine, I'm sure.
And when you guys look up, you do see these odd bat-like creatures.
Look up. Damn it.
Yeah.
well, Xavier would once again look up just out of pure curiosity, because if you tell him not to do something, of course he's gonna want to do it. But
Right.
I warned you.
Yep. So when you do look up and you see these bat-like things, as soon as you turn your head to look up at them, they fly off, and you find that they actually have wings to the front and the aft of their bodies. So it's kind of like a flying squirrel with longer arm flaps, if you will. So they fly off, but they are descending into the forest as they float away. They're flapping, but they're not gaining any altitude, in other words.
can I knock an arrow and try and spear one of these things?
Absolutely. Go ahead and make your shot. You are a tinker, though, so you're not going to be really hyper accurate, so I'll give you a 30%.
Okay.
Well, he has one of his miners in Warden, doesn't he? So he
So it'd
could
be
argue to use a
he
little bit
he
more.
could argue to add a little bit of that hunting skill. So
Probably like the 15%
yeah,
or whatever it is.
Yeah, I actually would argue that.
15% more, so 45.
Well, sadly, no, 60.
Okay,
I could use my name tag, but I don't think it's worth it.
fair enough. So 45 shoots off into the distance. An arrow goes whipping away.
I curse in primal.
Nice. Which, of course, translates as ah, ah, ah! No, I'm just kidding. Sorry. All right. So, as you're continuing to follow this pathway, Xavier has his little flask. Oh no, he put his flask away in order to be able to shoot the bow. So the flask is pocketed.
Now, okay.
You're tracking ahead, Rael, and you see some spore on the ground. On the trail. It's as if the animal dropped trow, so to speak, as it was running along, which tells you a couple things. More than likely, it's not wearing clothes, because you wouldn't do that while you were moving.
No.
And second of all, it's a rather substantive clump of material. As a matter of fact, it's still steaming.
Oh. Oh.
Now, before she sees the steam off of it, she stops and then looks around. She starts carefully perusing, observing the forest.
Okay.
She's not
Yeah.
gonna taste it to make sure.
Well, she's got to get to it first. Yeah. So she
No,
stops
no,
short
the
of it.
first thing.
Right. So
Yeah.
she basically holds up, put up her hand to stop the movement of the group, and now
Is something wrong?
she's peering off in the area around.
Now, there is a fresh deposit of dung right on the trail, and it's still steaming. He might be aware of us
Ooh.
following him.
Steamy doo doo.
And
Okay.
So,
Go ahead and roll, since we're just doing a general observation, 50%.
I'll also ask Fire Ice to scan.
Okay.
34.
All right. I'm gonna 34. Okay. Yeah. You could definitely see that. While you don't see anything nearly large enough to be whatever left this pile of doo-doo, you do see about a half dozen smaller creatures, rat-like, maybe a little bit smaller, along the edges of the pathway, almost like they were drawn to the aroma of the excrement.
Okay. Well, I don't sense anything of that mass nearby. There is a bunch of small vermin-like creatures. I think they're drawn to the dung.
Can we possibly get around this dung and move on? Because it's really kind of stinky.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead and roll percentage. 15% there, Xavier.
Whoa, 9.
9. Okay. You actually can smell it. That's what I was rolling for, to see whether or not you actually, because you're making a joke about it being stinky. But from where you are, you found a couple of things to note. Number one is you are traveling downwind of it. So if you're approaching it from behind, it probably does not or would not be able to detect you. But the wind is just faint enough. It also happens to be timed with one of those cold blasts, and so you get this cold face full of excrement smell. And what it smells like in particular is decayed meat.
Oh my god, that is terrible. Rotten meat. That's what that stuff smells like. Also,
He's holding his ponged nose. I can totally see that. Hand up over his head. Oh, going, oh, that's horrible.
also, it's coming from downwind of us, so if
So it's
we
coming
are
from upwind.
Upwind of you.
upwind, so this creature may not be aware of our presence.
Well, we're not exactly the most silent, even with a
Maybe
fire.
its hearing is not very good.
Of course, Xavier just cried out with an epithet a moment ago. So there was that.
Yeah, there was that loud cry that we didn't need to hear.
Sorry. You guys can't.
I am sorry. Her voice is quite low, pitch low. I'm sorry your sensibilities were insulted, but it's a natural fact of life. Now, if it is an erglet or one of the other beast creatures, they eat meat. So he might have traveled in here to pick off something, or he followed something here to pick it off. Nonetheless,
Ahead of you, you hear a heavy branch break. I mean, not like a little twig, but something big broke something ahead of you. You hear the big crack and subsequent crash of something through foliage.
I stand corrected.
okay, she said we might have incoming. He might have heard that cry
Yeah.
and has picked off a branch to attack. So be ready and protect yourselves. Tree might be a useful place to be near.
Yes,
She just moves off to the side towards a tree, but so she has a vision on,
The path ahead.
yeah,
Well, you're
from where
still
that-
you're still a horse unless you've unhorsed.
yeah, no, she's still on the horse.
Right.
And he's at, wind walk. She actually moves a little bit forward, because if he comes after her, she could go up and maybe draw his attention from the others.
that's a good.
Ilu is still floating there.
I
He's
know
not
I
as
float.
alert as the other two,
Right.
Yeah.
or worried.
So I'm gonna try to get up a tree myself, but I also have this big rhino with me, so I'm wondering what I'm gonna do with that.
So you just climb. You climb off the rhino back onto the tree.
No, I'd stay on the rhino. The rhino will take care of itself if something comes to attack it.
That's true.
And,
So I'm just gonna draw
wait,
my-
so do me a favor, roll percentage dice for the rhino.
albino. Oh,
I know.
That's his name, yeah.
62.
62. Yes, he is clearly agitated by the aroma of the poo. So he's probably just standing there stomping. You know how they get a little agitated and they just stomp their feet. So he's just shifting his
okay.
weight from side to
Ilu
side.
is going to do one thing.
Sure.
He's going to create a small barrier between the sound that's coming and the party in the aether.
Okay.
So it's an aether wall, so it's only going to protect if it's an aether being, but
Right.
just
Got-
in case, because we
just-
saw those bat things that are like half and half, so...
Right.
Can I, in the meantime, try and calm albino down?
Sure. You are a writer, so I mean, you didn't take writer skills, so it'd be at 5%.
And if not, I can.
Right.
Well,
It wasn't at 5.
no.
No.
I'm gonna use my name tag.
Well, that bad, huh?
Really bad.
Calm down. Yeah.
Okay, still not good, but slightly. So 37.
Okay, yeah, it's not working. The animal's probably starting to turn in its position, trying to get away from the smell.
Rael dismounts, moves
Okay.
over to the rhino,
Uh-huh. Okay.
reaches out a hand,
Yep, 75% chance. 80%. 80% chance.
okay, and does a calm animals.
Yep.
Telling it to be ready, but
Yeah, I get you. You can't. It's not a sentient, so you can't convey that kind of emotion. But you can calm it down. 48. Oh yeah, he calms down.
good.
Okay. The sounds of the local creatures and stuff has gone silent since the crash of the branch.
Okay.
Whatever.
The sound has changed.
Yes.
Also, the little animals that were in the trees and stuff that were nearby have scurried away. You no longer see them looking at the pile of dung. They've apparently lost interest or were driven away by the sound.
Okay. They have moved to save themselves.
Okay, so you're staying there for a few more moments. The excreta is still rapidly cooling, so you no longer see the steam rising from it.
Okay. Oh. And go ahead and keep an ear out for any sounds, because most of the other animals have quieted down. So she's listening for the least brush of a piece of brush, just a leaf, brushing against something, or
Mhm.
a small twig snapping, or anything.
Right. You will eventually hear a what must have been a misstep, because whatever it is that was approaching, I mean, originally weren't certain if it was coming or not, but then you hear this heavy footfall. Some underbrush is disturbed.
Okay. And she points.
A flock
That's all?
a flock of blackbirds in a nearby tree burst into the sky and fly heavenward through the
Okay.
trees. There's
Knocking an arrow just in case.
okay, knocking an arrow,
Yeah.
pointing in that direction.
Uh,
You are still aboard the rhino, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you turn the animal at a slight angle to be able to point that arrow forward.
he communicates with Fire Ice
Yep.
to do an aerial attack if he gets a clear shot at this thing, because he can go up high enough and kick it in the head.
Right, but you'd have to use movement
Yeah.
to get up into the sky.
How sentient is her horse?
Sentient.
It's well, it's well, she has telepathic connection with it, but it's animal. It's fundamentally it's not it. It communicates with you, but it doesn't actually talk, Gene. So
No,
you can
so in a
convey.
picture.
So you can like literally you could guide it to climb for elevation at this point if you want to get to a
Yeah.
higher point, because it won't be able to do an aerial attack from this level because you only have it a couple of
Yeah.
inches off the ground. So you're going airborne then.
Yeah.
You're going to walk up. Okay, so you're gonna turn and walk it like in a circle upwards, because if you walk forward, of course if you're goading it
Yeah.
to go forward, it'll go forward instead of
Yeah.
in a circle. But you want to basically turn away and circle around. Is
Yes,
that what you're trying to do?
circle around.
Circle around for elevation. Okay, as you do so, go ahead and make an observation check. Since you are a scout, I'll give it to you at 40%.
Mm. 45.
Okay. Something tickles at the edge of your periphery, but you don't necessarily see what it was. But there's a flapping of wings, and your recent encounter with them suggests that it must have been one of the bat-like things, even though you didn't
Yeah.
actually see it.
She has her bow and arrow out.
All
Her
right.
bow out and knock with an arrow and then a combat draw.
Due to the fact that the mists at elevation are less dense than those near the ground, from above you can see what looks to be probably a half dozen gnarled trees ahead of your pathway, and
We got a scared dog, folks. Oh goodness.
Oh, has Nimrod or Nimbus come to see you?
Nimros.
Yes, she has.
Nimrod.
So
With the tractor
Oh, it's the Roomba.
it's the robot.
Oh,
to
dear.
him again. I can't believe a dog as big as that could run away from a Roomba.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. So, so you can see clearly where your party is, but you can also see a group of the gnarled trees ahead of the group don't seem to be. There's nothing really to note other than a few trees, but you do see a fresh break on a branch up ahead. You can see where whatever it was must have fallen against it, and a gout of its blood laying on the ground there.
Like,
Okay.
is this fresh? Did this just happen?
Yes, this is the cracking sound you heard earlier, just seconds ago. It's
She
like
looks
whatever
like
it is,
her-
whatever it is it looks like it must be bleeding out or whatever, because now it's a big splash of the blood like stuff. You still don't see a creature.
Okay.
And there's nothing. It's not appearing in the aether or anything.
Well, just now, as you're peering into your wall, there is a I guess you'd call it a diaphanous outline of something over 8 feet tall trying to press through the ward that you put up. And so it bows inward with that kind of creepy, like you're looking at cellophane as it leans
Yeah.
into it. And it's, like I said, over 8 feet tall. Its face is monopolized by a protuberance of a nose, and its lower jaw basically hits the field at the same time, and as it pushes forward, it'll rip right through it because it's not truly of the aether nature, but nonetheless the aether in its blood does show as it passes through.
It's right there. Big, 8 foot tall. Can you not see it?
They can't.
I refocus and take a look. If I can see the bulge, I can have an idea.
No, because you couldn't see the bulge because you can't see into the aether. He's seeing it through aether sight.
Oh,
So it's something that
Elu's
is.
going to what can he do? He's going to cast maybe something in the crystal stuff. He's going to cast. He's gonna whistle and throw a limb ball enhanced with the crystal to try to cover it in like some crystal
Nice.
residue so it'll sparkle and shine
Sure,
and see,
sure.
so they can see it.
So that would be 45 plus 30 is 75 minus 25, so 50-50.
Okay. Oof, 84. I missed.
Okay, so there's a puff of crystal. I will pick a color.
Purple.
Okay, so there's a puff of purple dust that scintillates and flashes in the dull light and descends to the ground. Clearly modified a little bit by the slight breeze that I described earlier. So there's a little bit of drift of this cloud just to the left of where he's pointing. So basically, he's pointing, saying it's right there, but then the magic went off.
I whiffed it. My bad.
My bad. It's still there. He's still pointing at the place where he saw it pass through.
Okay, just a moment. To the left or to the right?
Yeah.
How far?
I hooked it. I hooked it.
He holds up both hands in an L shape, and he's trying to decide which one it is.
While he's doing that, Xavier, your natural sense has a chance here. Roll 25% or lower.
Alright. Nope.
Okay. Okay, so you're looking forward, trying to. Oh, you rolled a 70. Yeah. So you're looking forward, peering into the space, and literally just off of your shoulder, you hear a heavy grunting sound, like something like in pain. It goes, "Ugh." And as it does so, it swings at you, and you get clouded by something about as big as a tree. It just feels like you got slammed by a car at about 20 mile an hour. You're knocked off the rhino. The rhino's eyes get really huge, and without you aboard, despite her attempt to protect it, this creature is so close that the rhino just goes thundering off into the forest,
Crap.
squealing like a pig. Just goes running off. Clumpity clump, clumpity clump.
You know they're related to the horse.
Have a final no.
Yeah, a hippopotamus. Eohippus is.
How many hippos have you seen that are 8 feet tall and half in the aether?
No, not that. I'm talking about a rhino.
She's
a hippopotamus.
She's pontificating on the rhino while this is going
but
on.
clearly
Oh, no,
he's not focusing on that at all.
Right. So
Because he's the only one that can still see it.
when it hits Xavier, however, it does manifest, and this is a god awful mass of hair and thorns, and it's rather snaggle-toothed. Its blank eyes stare from behind bushy eyebrows, and a prognathic face underneath that monstrous nose. And the nose hangs down over the jaw, so whenever this thing would have to eat it, it literally would have to lift its nose out of the way. Its hair is more like a fur, but it's splotchy. And in the places where the flesh is visible, it's mottled and wrinkled up. It looks like ages-old flesh, and it's of a deep brown and black color.
John?
Yes.
Ulu wants to try something.
Sure.
He's never done it before on a living creature,
Oh no.
but he's going to try to do a limbral extrusion. So he's going to try to draw the free magical energy, which is a painful process, out of
the living thing?
creature.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, due to the fact that it hasn't been attempted before, you are doing it under combat and on a creature that you don't even know if it will work. Let's make it 15%.
Sure
Good luck.
thing. Believe in me, friends.
I believe.
Wait,
I believe you can
he
fly.
is going to do this with the addition of some crystal magic so that they can join in together in their... If they hum along in their crystal communicators, it might amplify the power of it a little.
I'll even give you 5% for that, because that's kind of a cool thought.
Nice.
So 20%. It's 1 in 5.
Okay.
Nope. 55.
Okay. So actually, as you cast at it, the thing that's kind of disturbing is it focuses now on you, and it moves towards you. And its physical movement is ape-like in that its weight is so heavy in its chest that it uses its arms like legs as it moves towards you. So
Okay.
it's putting its knuckles on the ground and leaping forwards towards El Maru.
He's still about 8 feet in the air, but he is probably within reach.
You're definitely within reach. So you're on the ground, but it's your action there. What are you doing, Xavier?
Can I clumsily get a shot off from the ground at this thing now that I could somewhat see where?
Absolutely. I will give you, because you've got some hunter in you, and even though you were kind of surprised on this, your background as a monster hunter and whatever, I'll give you that. Sure. So let's give you the same 15%.
Alright. No.
Okay.
27.
Second arrow goes flying. Because you shot an arrow, however, roll a d6 for me.
Alright.
I'm not on the opposite side of this creature from him, am I?
No, Rael is.
Oh, lovely.
6.
6. Nope, he goes off a ride, just completely misses.
Thank you for all those things. I am truly thankful.
Yes. All right, Rael, you're at elevation. You see this thing now charging at an angle towards your associate in the air.
Okay, I shoot it.
Okay, roll to hit. Yeah, you're using your full hunter ability, 95 versus its hide toughness. Let's make it 70.
Okay. Well, eat that. That's a plain 30.
There you go. That'll do it. Smack it. You hit it. It shrieks. Where you hit it is where you realize that it was wounded on that same side. The garish claw mark on the side of it, though, suggests that whatever hit it was even bigger than this Urgluk, this troll-like thing it's now barreling down on your friend. And you get a chance to respond to it coming in, Ilyu, as it's coming at you.
I'm gonna do a ray of limb, my go-to.
Go-to straight shot with pure magical energy. Okay, you're obviously going to hit it, so do this. Roll a d4, and if you roll a 4, you can roll again. And you keep doing that, so it cascades off of it. But it only does that on a 4.
Nope, I got a 1.
Okay, so you hit it, but you notice that because of the nature of its it's tied to the aether, the bolt actually slightly deflected. So you did one point of damage. It's already been hit, so it's shrieking in rage. It's bleeding. It's literally in that moment of, if you think about it, when a creature is going into what it considers to be its death. So it's kind of lost its mind. So it's going to flail at you twice. Somebody do me the favor of rolling the dice. Because of the fact that it's charging, he's virtually static from his positioning. Let's give it 60% on each attack.
92.
So it misses with one arm.
25 on the second.
Yep. So
Okay.
it literally pulls a Rocky Balboa, swings with its left, and as you duck, it clouts you with the fist. Roll a d4.
1.
Okay. Yeah, you go flying against a nearby tree. It basically drops your flight, and you drop to the ground. So you drop 8 feet. So between getting clouted to the tree and the fist and that, you take 25 percentage points of damage. You can spread that as fatigue or wounds. Fatigue comes back faster, but wounds don't affect you until you drop it. Okay. So yeah, it basically knocks the wind out of you. And so you're on the ground after it smacks you. When it does, it raises its head up and beats its chest in its rage, and it's particularly raging at Rael that it can't reach because she's airborne and above it. It is back to Rael's action.
Another shot goes off.
Okay. And go ahead, Xavier. You're back to your feet.
It was a 23.
23. Oh yeah, you definitely hit.
Okay, so
More than likely, you hit it very close to where you shot it the first time. So it's got 2 arrows sticking out of its flesh next to where the blood is literally now pumping out of its chest. You can see where it's been basically holding the wound, but now it's no longer, and so the blood is just gushing all over the place.
Didn't help to beat his chest either.
okay, so Xavier's going to go melee with this thing, but going for a cold shot to the obvious weak spot.
That would be its lower body section where its reproductive organs are. Sure, go ahead.
Maybe not.
Maybe yes. It's a great way to distract them.
You know what? Why not?
Sure.
Like
No,
knows
never
like.
mind.
So.
Well, because it's looking skyward and he's on the ground, so it makes sense for you to
Yeah.
go for.
Can I use my action to assist him by moving his weapon partially into the aether so that it will hit both, just in case?
Oh, nice. Yeah, your blade goes a little bit spectral as you attack.
All right.
That'll give you 5% more. So 45 plus 5, it gives you a 50%.
50-50 is nice.
3.
3? Oh.
Yes.
Yeah, you actually, you don't even mean to, but the blade coming in contact with its midsection and below, as you I imagine you like charged it and slide under it, and you just basically eviscerate it, and its guts pour down, rain on you as you slide under it. The creature.
That's also ethereal blood, so it's
Yeah.
really hard to clean.
Yeah, and so it falls forward, missing you as it goes face down in the underbrush. You're covered in gore. It's great.
Now, would this be
Thank God it already pooped, so there's nothing in there.
That's true.
Uh,
Matter of fact,
I
that's
think
the
that's a very, 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 very minor,
inconvenience. Yeah, actually, what's really funny is as you come sliding to a stop after diving under it, you're face to face with its pile of dung that we've been fighting around. So you just literally you look up and you go, "Oh shit!"
Adding insult to injury.
Good thing you didn't step in it.
yeah. Yeah. So I kind of see myself like almost to it, and I just kind of
Right. Skid to a stop. Oh
Yeah.
shit. Yep, exactly.
and
Okay, Ilyu, from your vantage point right there on the ground beside it, looking at it laying there, it's still breathing. Surprisingly, just heavily laboring air comes out of its lungs in little puffs of.
Yeah.
Are you intelligent? Oh, Nimros, no, please stop. Oh God. Elu's going to suck the limb out of it again. Finish it off.
I can hear him struggling to get the weight of this dog off.
Yeah, exactly.
He's gonna suck the limb out of the thing, cause finish him off.
Okay.
Oh, yes, I love you too, Nimros.
Yeah, without the modifier of the singing, you get 15%.
That is 20.
Yep, nope.
It's
That-
closer though.
Yep.
Oh God, get off.
Rael, you're gonna come down from your elevation now.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you come trotting back down to the surface. By the way, from your elevation, you can see the rhino is over there. It's as expected. A stupid animal runs for a ways, then it stops and goes, "Oh, grass!" and starts munching on the local underbrush.
Yeah, she'll just note where it is and we can go get it afterwards. Probably very few animals will bother it.
Yeah, exactly.
it's a giant rhino, so I hope so. Of
Okay,
course,
if she comes down and she'll just slice its neck. Now it's a wounded whatever it is, and we're not about to keep it alive. So
Okay. So you slash its throat, putting that weird blood all over your blade in the process. You're gonna wipe it off on its fur.
Yes,
Okay.
most definitely.
Okay. So it's now lying silent on the ground. Its entrails also still steaming.
Something will eat tonight, well. But what is this strange blood it has in it?
Is this creature normally of the Aether?
It defies description, but you haven't spent much time in Dol Gul, so you're not exactly sure what kind of creatures live there.
I was
They're known
asking
as
of the hunters, because the
Yeah.
hunters might have heard.
yeah, that's a good point. Go ahead, make a check on that, Xavier. I'll give you a 60.
Doesn't look like a regular Urglik, right?
Well, you've not really seen Urgliks. Most people don't. Yeah, they tend to fight in groups, and they tend to not take any prisoners. So,
If it's still, is it still partially in the Aether?
yes.
He is going to do Aether Expulsion, which returns beings or threats from the Aether to... no wait, wrong one.
Banish.
The other way. He's going to make sure that it's fully physical.
Oh, you're gonna try. That would not be Aether Expulsion. You're gonna try to expulse the ether out of it.
Yes, but Aether Expulsion puts beings of the Aether back to the Aether.
Right.
He wants to do the opposite.
Oh,
Solidify it in the here.
yes. That would be.
So they can see it fully.
That would be 1%.
Ooh.
It's not.
Sing with me, friends.
Okay, I'll sing with you.
Okay, that makes it 3%.
Jacob, sing, sing, sing.
Oh, god damn it, John.
What'd you
I
roll?
want to argue for a 10%.
Yeah. Nope. Sorry.
I got an odd 7. Come
Sorry. Nope. Nope. Deal's a deal.
on. I need 4 more friends.
Well, let's see. Is there any?
Voices, sing with me.
Do we have any? Do we have anybody in the? We have a viewer. Maybe if the viewer will chat that they're chanting along, we'll give you an extra 1, but that won't be enough. That'll only be 4, and we only have 1 viewer.
What about for my other personalities, John?
No. No.
You,
No. That's funny. That's funny that you should try that, but that is definitely something we can now add in stream for this game that you can't get anyplace else. Is that the more viewers we have, the more chances you get to change numbers. So
Okay.
That sounds wonderful.
That's that. So
if our viewer becomes a chatter, we could get that, but I don't see any response. So
what would our tech be to recognize this thing?
okay, you guys are gonna have about a 70% chance of recognizing it.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
of course. I'm just trying to
31.
expel something back to the Aether. They're just looking at it.
That's right.
70%.
Yeah, shut up, you.
Well, okay. Xavier rolled an 84, but he is.
Oh, he's not gonna make it either. That's funny.
He is.
What?
He is kind of distracted due to the fact that he is covered in gore.
Yeah,
at
he's
the
going,
moment.
I am completely covered in blood.
Can I
Nice.
at least expel the blood back to the Aether off of him?
No.
God damn.
31.
Sorry. 31? Yeah, she goes, oh, this is a troll.
That ain't no dang troll. I've seen trolls.
No, this is a troll. This is welcome
Not
to
a troll from Trelora.
also not you've never met a Nycosian troll.
It's a
I've not
Trelora
thrown
troll.
I've never thrown a troll at you.
Trelora troll.
Yes.
Rather unpleasant fellow. I think we need to cut the head totally from the body to make sure
Why?
that or burn it.
You've already cut it. It's
Is this
it's
some
bled
kind
out.
of weird ritual that you need to do?
Well, I don't know. Trolls typically regenerate, but I don't know about Nycosian trolls.
Well,
she
that
would know about Nycosian trolls, so
she would know, and she would also know that would explain why the blood had a bit of aether in it, and the reason why the blood
You
stayed
need
alive.
to burn the body. It needs to be completely burned. Cut
About
the
this
head.
time, there is a minor, I would say minor, popping sound in, not to add insult to injury, but in Xavier's pocket. You hear the sound of glass breaking in his pocket.
Oh,
Not
come
my fault.
on!
I cut it off with limb. So I tried.
No,
And
you know,
turn-
yeah. The problem was that you sealed the bottle, so as the blood replicated inside of the jar, eventually it gets pressured enough that it actually blows up because the blood is actually regrowing.
Burn it. If you can catch it, burn it.
Wait,
It's the only
before you
way.
keep going about burning, is that actually what her knowledge of trolls is?
Yeah. Well. Okay. So. Yes. If you want to not have to hunt that troll anymore, you burn it because you basically atomizes material and either send it into the earth or into the air. It's no longer
I
incorporated
have
as a troll, and the ether is driven off by it.
Yeah, do I have, like, the tools to make fire to burn this thing?
I can do that.
Yeah, you can light a.
We can all make fire.
I whistle a jaunty fire tune.
Whoosh! There's a fire burning in his palm, and he just basically finds some brush, and you can have a fire going.
That is a very useful thing. Is it something you can teach?
Yes.
Well, you could learn the melody.
I'd love to.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like
He-
fire,
Nice.
something like that.
Fire, fire, burning bright in the forest of the night.
And she's
Look,
she's
immortal,
she's
how
now
you
lighting.
You're trying too hard. You're trying to.
Now she's
let
let-
the music flow.
I trained my.
She's just let the entire the entire forest on fire with all those words. No,
Fame, I'm gonna live forever. I'm gonna.
that's flame. That's
Burn
fame.
you
Just
down.
change the word to flame.
Yeah, well, I was working on it.
Yeah. The thing is that she has to finish an adventure, and then she could use that as her advancement to learn 1% of ability. See, that's
Yeah,
how that
fire
works. That's how your advancement works.
Oh, cool.
Okay, so...
Fire magic.
And you have to roll. Then when you get that ability at 1%, you can immediately ramp, but you have to roll under that 1%.
Oh, sure. What's that? 0-0?
Right, so you don't get anything. You know, it's not 0-0. It's not possible at your first gain of an ability.
Yeah.
But the next time you're now at 2%, so you can roll a 1 or a 2
Ah,
to ramp.
I understand.
So over time, it gets easier to learn stuff. But that's
She will probably do
Maybe
it.
because she has a teacher, she could get some sort of assistant eventually. But then I'd have to spend 10 weeks learning how to teach.
aha ha 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 ha.
That's okay.
But that's where we do our advancement right there. Is how you just take 1% chance in anything. All right, so you're now gonna have to clearly chop up the troll to do that. So it's gonna be kind of
Yeah.
gruesome work. And so for the next 10-15 minutes, you cut up the troll. Of course, that fight scene was pretty damn fast, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Went very well.
Okay.
Now,
Not
can
as
I-
fast as it could have been.
Yes, that's true.
If we hadn't missed the first couple shots.
Well, right. If we had just more done plans and then.
Right, if you'd have caught up with it and were under control of the engagement instead of fighting a
Yeah.
defensive battle.
Right.
Yeah.
He's gonna continually attempt each time they cut up a part. He's gonna try to do an Aether ward, which prevents beings or threats from the Aether from manifesting on Nycos. So trying to push it back into the Aether.
Good. Go ahead and roll.
Couple
Just
times.
go ahead and roll once for the entire process. Give it a 75% chance of success.
It's not his day.
No.
94.
Okay, so you cast that, and almost immediately as you're doing that, the trees above start to fill with those bats.
He doesn't notice.
No, you know you.
He's too pissed off about screwing up the.
Yeah, he's complaining to that, but everybody else. The party is just seeing the trees just filling with these spiritual bats.
Okay, so is this blood like really sticky because it is part ether, or
Hey, Documenter's watching. That's who's watching. Yay! Thank you,
I
Documenter.
would feel kind of like you can see it, but you can't touch it because it's not really there.
What's that?
the blood that's on me? Does it being part ether actually make it?
What? No, what's
impossible?
creepy is you can feel it crawling off of you.
That is.
Isn't that disturbing? Like the organs are still roiling and gurgling.
Oh my god.
Don't let
We
it.
need more fire.
Don't let it crawl into your mouth. Whatever you do, get it off your face.
Yeah, he is.
We need more fire. I'm gonna produce some more fires. We get this done.
Yes, I'm taking flint, steel, whatever I can do.
Well, all you have to do to expedite the process, Xavier, is lean your face towards the fire, and it'll crawl off your face and crawl away from it because it's clearly trying to
Let's
get away
do
from
a
the fire.
fire walk. I'm gonna make some coals.
There we go.
Yes.
You walk across.
So I will do that. But I am also trying to keep an eye on the cluster of
Wait,
bats.
I have a question. If I create an aether wall, like I did before, he could technically pass through it, but the blood should be pushed off.
Exactly.
So you're gonna do that, make an aether wall, and then make him walk through it, and it should stop all the blood, but not him.
Yeah, you have to walk slow because the stuff can't move that fast. But yeah,
It's like
Yeah.
a Wonka wash.
it's like a Husnawaka watch. Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, we'll try that. I'm just trying to get this stuff on this fast as possible because I don't like the way it is moving.
It tickles.
Yeah. Well,
Not in a
not
good
only
way,
that,
not
not
in
only
a
that.
good
Once
way.
once you've walked through, there'll be a little clump, like a maybe a 1 pound ball of detritus and goo trying to reform. You just stab it with a stick and walk the stick over and burn it. Drop it in the fire.
Yeah.
Nice. So eventually you can finally get all of the troll consumed. It's completely dead. But this leads to a really scary question. What was big enough to do that much damage to the troll in the first place?
That is not something I want to think about at this point in time, but
Well, that's technically behind you, but I just wanted to mention that little creepy bit.
No, John, it's behind you.
Nice.
Ha!
Okay, so all told, there must be 50 or 60 bats up there above you, looking down balefully with their octagonal eyes blinking at you.
I'm still pretending not to notice.
All right, but the fire's done. It's been a good hour and a half. It's heading towards late afternoon. You're eventually going to have to set camp. Or are you going to set it here in this dire place? Or are you going to continue to press forward?
I'd say continue to press forward.
Okay, as you're heading on further into the mist and the mire, you start to see ahead of you. At first, it's almost like a trick of the eye that there appears to be maybe a light ahead. But after a few more, after probably another couple hundred yards, you can see a steady light source on the edge of a marsh. So the terrain is becoming increasingly muddy, and the trail hasn't been used in a while, but there are slither tracks across the muck, as if creatures either with tails or creatures that are tails, like worms and such, have crisscrossed this marshy area.
Because I can only do cool cosmetic things today.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to give each of their steeds and them a headband with a crystal on it that produces light in that same beamy fashion.
Sure. Go ahead and roll percentage. Make it 80%.
Look at that, 67.
Nice. All right. So you got that light. Also, Elefino was just munching on some grasses and stuff, and so he's more than happy to be back under your control once you catch up with him.
Yeah, I'm.
Get him back onto the pathway.
Headlamps
Yeah.
for everybody.
Yay.
Don't run away, man. Don't scare me. Like
I am
that.
useful. I am.
Yes.
I
very
promise.
All right, so ahead of you, you see what looks to be a shack. It's situated so that you could actually sit on the front porch if you wanted and drop a cane pole in the marshy waters. Um, there's a dim glow of light from within, and a single, I would say, arguably clearly magical light source on the backside of the building, illuminating the area around it. The underbrush has been cleared for about 40 feet, 50 feet around the building, so whoever lives here clearly knows you want to be able to see things as they approach the house. So you won't be able to sneak completely up to the property, but you can get up to the edge of that clearing if you want. From inside, you can hear somebody plinking away on a banjo.
A what?
A what?
Banjo.
A banjo.
Ah.
It broke up. It said somebody plinking on one A,
Nice.
and then I didn't hear anything.
Nice banjo. Yep. So
Okay.
so think the beginning part of the Pirates of the Caribbean ride.
Well, she rides up just a little bit. Her
Is
horse
there any magic in the tune?
Good point. Yes, there seems to be some form of enchantment in the music.
Can he tell what it is?
It sounds like invitation.
Like
Um.
the bad kind of invitation, or like, hey, it's all, come on over.
I don't know what you mean by bad kind of invitation.
Compulsion. Is one compulsion?
No, it's just an invite. It's just an invite. It's saying warmth, and it's playing No Place Like Home.
Uh,
I hail
he's
the
going
house.
he's going to do harmony, and he's going to join in and a riff saying, I would like to stay the night. I would like to take part of your hospitality, sort of harmony.
Nice. As it's playing, you hear a trumpet respond with come on in, the band's all here, kind of happy melody over the top.
They said we can come in. Let's go. And he's gonna come on in,
Okay.
All right.
playing on a crystal hoot jug.
Nice. Okay. So as you approach the house, the front door will creak open, and it's a screen door. So it's got screen on the upper part of the door and the wooden part on the lower part. And when the door opens, you don't see anybody, but the shadows cast out the front door are long and thin and look to be like 8 feet tall. But as they walk out onto the porch, it looks like maybe 3 or 4. I wouldn't say they're halfling. They're small. They may be smaller than halflings. They're small and lanky, and for their shortness, they're really thin, and their clothing hangs off of them like it's the wrong size, but the sleeves are too short and the pants are too short. So you can see there from about their mid calf down, they have no shoes on, and their sleeves indicate very thin, lithe fingertips, and their faces have narrow noses that actually extend from their forehead line. So the nose is more pronounced and doesn't even have a eyebrow ridge above it. Instead, the eyes are set wide apart on the face and are large, suggesting that they probably see into the darkness a little bit more than regular eyes.
Ugh. I mean, hi.
Howdy, y'all! Come on in! Exactly. That's right.
Has anyone seen the Andy Griffith Show?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
How could you not?
You know what I'm talking about then. This is Paw Paw and the boys.
Kelly? Mon Park Kettle.
Yeah, come on. We hate
Don't say yes to any marriage proposals.
we ain't got no barn, but you can tie the animals up the back there, and I'll see if I can get a bale of hay or two out to them. I'm Featherman. And who you guys be?
My name is Rael. And these are my companions.
I am Illumaril. He plays in his intro song.
You sure do harmony really pretty there, feller.
Why, thank you.
And why? I never seen a creature as big as that with that horn. What is that thing?
It's a rhinoceros.
A what?
A rhino.
Well, I ain't talking to you. Yours don't look like no rhino I never seen.
Oh, it's his.
Yours look like a horse.
His name is Elefino, and yes, he is quite big, but also a scaredy cat when it comes to...
I totally left you open to be able to just say Elefino, and then you ruined it. You just stepped right past it there, Scott. Doggone it.
He
Okay.
didn't say elephant.
No, he said his name is Elefino.
Yeah.
I was just letting him go, be able to just say, what is that thing? He was supposed to say Elefino, so it didn't work.
Yeah.
Okay, I was trying. Set up a joke. Wah wah wah. Okay. All right. Well, come on in. We got some.
Someone in the band actually plucks the wrong string.
Yeah.
Queen.
Exactly.
Boy.
Come on in. We got some grits on the griddle, and we're getting ready to roast us some pork. You guys all want some pork?
Woo boy. Yep.
Yes, I do like pork a lot.
Okay. So, Porkalot, isn't he? He's a knight over there in the Westerlands, ain't he, Sir Porkalot?
No, I.
He's
like,
from Camelot. We don't talk about that place.
It's a silly place. Anyway, come on in. Set a spell.
And
By the way, what are you? I'm not familiar.
He tilts his head aside and he says, "Well, come on in. I'll introduce you to the whole family. We be Quislings. You ain't never heard of us. We ain't never heard of no hell if I know either."
I understand. It's from a long way away.
Yeah.
Whistling.
Come on in. Yeah, so when you walk in, the size and the shapes of the Quislings is multiple and varied. They all share the issue that their nose is bigger than their forehead, so to speak, so that their eyes are set to the side of their head. So it feels a little bit like you're looking at a group of birds. They turn their heads a lot to see you with each of their eyes, unless you're standing straight square in front of them. And their eyes are large enough to clearly have three-dimensional vision, despite their rather large nose. But it's also suggestive that they probably see two of everything as well.
Okay.
Because
So they have double vision.
yes, as a matter of fact, you'll also notice that on occasion their eyes will work independent of one another, which is a little disturbing.
Speaking of Monty Python, you know the Flying Circus sketch where he's like
Yeah,
trying to get the safari together?
yeah. Come on in, and we'll fix it up, some grits and stuff. But y'all got anything to add to the stone soup?
Sure, I do.
Yeah, I got some.
And points at the big pot. There are three of the Quisling children that have gotten hold of the handle of the carousel, and they're using this spindle, which is very Tink-like. It's got this long spindle that goes to the center of the pot, and as they rotate the handle this direction, the handle is stirring the pot.
Yes. It's almost like those old tops with a spiral metal shaft and
Yep.
the handle on top, and as you push down on it,
Yep.
it spun the top. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's also a screwdriver like that where you could
Yep.
really long and
Yep.
do
Used
that.
to own one of those.
I
It's
thought
gonna-
that was
He's gonna make a salt crystal and sprinkle some salt in there, and he has a.
Yeah, I can imagine that you put your hand out and the crystal forms in the air above your hand and then drifts over it, and then it like grinds itself down into the pot. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
She has herbs. She always carries herbs and spices, but she also carries a few raw materials that could be thrown in to add.
Dried carrots, dried peppers, that kind of thing.
Yeah, dried stuff,
Nice.
but which we constitute very easily.
Right. Right.
So
As you approach with the packet of herbs, they go, "Ain't nothing in there hallucinogenic or pharmaceutical, is there? We don't like to feed that to the youngins."
no, these are all herbs used for.
Good. So go good with pork. That's all that
If
really
you
matters.
want hallucinogenic, he pulls out a small baggie full of crystals.
Nice.
They're all different colors.
Nice. Did-
I'm
You
gonna
already got
try-
the stone in there?
Oh yeah, we that's because our cousin Sly brings it, because it's the family stone.
Oh, you don't mind if I add my stone to you?
Oh, it's really not pardon the French kosher, but
No two-stone soup?
no, we're not doing two
Okay.
stones. No, that stone that tends to reproduce, don't you know?
Well, more the merrier.
Yeah, but we ain't got big enough pots for that.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna try to have like some
When
dried.
two stones get together, they reproduce.
So, yeah, so he walks you through the house and he shows you different things. He says, "That's our kitchen utensils, that's our pots and pans, and that's a potiphar, and then that's a lamp, and
Where's the Egyptian?
what's that? You know what the potty's for, right?
Yeah, the potty.
Yeah,
Yes.
to
The
pith it.
convenience.
It's to
I thought
pith.
it was an Egyptian.
No, it's a pith potiphar.
Oh,
It's to pith in, you idiot. Boom, boom. What's a potiphar? Yeah. Anyway, what brings you to our neck of the forest?
This gentleman has a need for something. This gentleman found out about it, and I'm helping them get there.
Well, that's about as vague as me saying we came from yonder and headed hither.
That's about right.
well, I came from thither.
Oh, really? You ever been to rock or paper? Because I hear thither winds.
It's
He
got the
got
best
you on
beaches.
that one. He got you. That was good.
I ain't got. I got for the getting.
Well, we all got God. We got religion. We believe in God.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Yeah. Wait, you don't want to go there. These are cannibals. Hallelujah, brother. You guys ever see Judge Dredd? You've never seen Judge Dredd? It's got a great scene in it where
I
they.
dread seeing it.
You dread seeing it? Yeah.
Depends on the version. I mean, I've
The
seen those.
the Stallone version.
A lot of people don't like that one.
No, but the scene with the Outlanders is cool.
You know, these guys might like shape note singing. Do you know what shape note singing is?
I do know.
You know about the Appalachian shape note singing?
No, I don't.
Blah, blah, blah.
So instead of because they couldn't teach they didn't have a way to they didn't use the 5-bar process. They would do re mi fa sol la ti do re mi fa sol la ti all have separate symbols.
Well, actually, what it is they took solfege and they're like, that's too complicated. That's 8 symbols, so we only want 3. So it's all sol, la, and fa. So there's different shaped triangles, and so it means a whole step, half step, or whole step. So when they sing songs, they always sing the first verse in the sol, la, fa, so, fa, la, so, and then they go into the words. And they sing very loud and all together. It's very interesting. And they always sit in the cardinal directions.
Mm-hmm.
So they have each part pointing in a different direction always, every time. It's very interesting to listen to.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of always has the same chords.
Yeah, that kind of fits these people. Only of course they have 6 points, but that's me.
Well, 7, but
Seven.
It's just
Just
Jimmy.
one.
He's always the one that doesn't fit in.
Right, exactly. He's the one that's tone deaf. I love you, mommy. Perfect pitch. 2 children. Amazing.
Wonderful, wonderful, Jimmy. Wonderful.
They always give him the solos.
So low we can't hear him.
That's the plan. That's the plan. Anyway, they show you all kinds of hospitality, give you plenty to eat, and to spare. They actually stuff your pockets with little breads that they've made, and
Is there any eyeballs in my soup?
I thought you guys might take a look into the soup. Yeah, no, there are no eyes. Oh, actually, there might be because there's some taters in there, and it's big chunky taters, so there might be some eyes,
Okay.
but they're the edible kind.
I thought you guys would have added the troll meat, but I forgot to get some.
No, you don't want any of that stuff anywhere.
Might taste good though. Might give you regenerative properties.
Or it might eat you from within.
That's true.
Yeah, that's what we're afraid of.
Tiny troll baby forms inside your
There's
stomach.
only one way to find out. We need a mutant.
Yeah, exactly.
Steven?
Steven's not here.
Damn it.
Jacob's being clever and being quiet, so
I'm gonna look around.
sure.
Um,
You get a wink and a wave from one of the little Quisling girls.
I'm mainly looking to see what kind of materials they have to not necessarily tinker with, but
Oh,
the fact
if
that-
you mention you're a tinker, they'll put you to work. They definitely have some projects that need to be accomplished.
They need some tinkling done.
yeah, I'll do what I can to help them with that while we're here.
The one that spoke to us about getting the hay.
Yep.
Certainly, if you can tell me where to get the hay, I can bring it around easier.
No, it's actually pretty easy. We just tell the hay to walk over there itself.
Hey! You hay's you're for horses.
Well, no, he's just come in. I'll show you. And in the back of the house, standing kind of well, when you first walk out, it looks like probably a half dozen sheaves of wheat
Okay.
stacked upright.
Stacks, yeah, a stacked upright wheat.
Right.
Shocks. They're called shocks of wheat.
Right,
actually.
but they're all leaned against each other, right? So,
Okay.
so as you walk out, you see 4 or 5 of those, and they whistle, and one of the stacks, the heads of the wheat actually turn, and you realize that the heads all have faces, and the grain acts like hair, falling back off of the tops of their heads,
Okay.
and they go, 3 of y'all walk around to the left, 3 of y'all walk around to the right. There be a horse and a ride. Big horn thing. Go out there and feed them.
The
What?
hell if I know?
And so
What
these
exciting,
these
Elva.
these creatures,
Hello?
they're rooted,
Mario.
but that first shock basically unravels from each other, and they turn into basically 6 different figures that they just extricate themselves. So they're all like bunched together, and as they pull themselves apart, they go walking off around the building, their feet planting root-like each time they take a step. So it's looks like mini tree ants, if you will, but only grain. And when they walk around front, as they're walking, you notice that they do have arms that hang down beside them, almost to the ground, but the arms end in what look like, for lack of a better term, the ends of a flail. They're these nubby, stone-like wood with little nubs of rocky-like material. And when they walk around front, they get near the animals, and then they start beating themselves in the head. Whack, 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 whack. And as they're beating their own heads, it breaks off and forms into it's kind of
Grain.
like a popcorn kind of an effect, but instead of grain, it's these little tiny loaves of bread. And it dawns on you that the loaves of bread they gave you were outcome from this kind of process.
Huh.
And
Any chummy?
no,
I hear it goes good with this stuff.
yes, we don't have any chummy. That's an ancient recipe we lost long ago. We haven't had any chummy.
Thank God. Between 150 1,500 years.
Yeah, how'd you know? You're familiar
I've
with
been
this?
told it all before.
Yeah, nice.
So that is interesting, Xavier, but clearly not mechanical, more area department.
Well, and the thing is that if you took time, you could actually talk to them, and the Quislings will explain to you that these are pamphletsites, the leftovers from the Great War long ago. There aren't a lot of them left, They travel around in family groups and reproduce in peace in the sunlight. And they are compelled to find people in need, and they provide sustenance. Like in the large cities, there are little pamphlet groups that will feed the hungry on a weekly basis by
Do
basically.
they come in corn?
They do. They come in anything that's got a head like that.
I'd like some cornbread. That'd be yummy full.
Well, we don't have any in our little passel here, but I can definitely put out the word to have one brought if you were going to be local for a while. Since you're not, the only thing I can tell you is that you'll find more of the corn towards the south. It's particularly plentiful down in the Swarthier Plains. I hear the southern cornbread is supposed to be the best. Yeah, and they tend to be near the larger of the hives, and so
And that'll be that pure stuff. None of that icky green things and none of the cornbread.
right. No, exactly. But it'd be actually cornbread with honey and stuff. It's really good.
Ooh. I know where I'm heading.
Excellent. So where are you headed in particular?
Deeper in.
Indeed. Well,
Not really sure where. We're looking for a thingy-majig.
okay. So unfortunately, I'm already looking at the time, and we spent most of our action in that fight scene. So I would like to take a couple minutes, if you guys don't mind, to kind of debrief about how that all went and what you thought of the mechanics of the way we did it today. Is that okay?
Yeah,
Did it make more sense when I gave the numbers in a percentage form and explained why the modifiers? Did that make sense?
Some of them, yes.
Okay. Some of them, which ones? I know you're going to say it's the 1%.
I know. Well, no, that makes sense because I was trying something new, and I even preface it that I've never tried this before. I don't even know if it could work on something living.
Right.
I just wonder if there was, maybe if we fleshed that out a bit more so that, because I don't want random players to feel like it's too arbitrary.
Right. Okay. So the clarification is that there actually is a chart in the in the DM's portion of this game where it says here are the following things that you can modify for. So, is the scene necessary or irrelevant? In other words, if somebody's doing something just to do it, it's wasting time and therefore not as likely to be successful because you don't want to chase the ghost of something that's not useful. If it's useful, is it pertinent to the story? If it's pertinent to the story, then that gets a better modifier. Is it does it make rational sense? In other words, the Stephen doing weird things, randomness shouldn't be rewarded. Whereas if it's making sense to the story, the odds should be improved and things like that. The default is always whatever your skill is, so somebody who's got a 95 and things makes it really easy to allow things to succeed.
but then again, that's all they can really do.
Well, so what I'm getting at is the reason why I put modifiers and bring the numbers down are A, for the theatrics of it, B, so that we feel like we're actually succeeding when we roll the dice or whatever. But if it's, I'll have to show you the list. But it starts with: is it pertinent to the adventure? Does it need to happen? Does it make sense? And will it forward the story or does it hinder the story? And if it all is positive, then they're at the flat 95. And if it's something that I want there to be, if it's in combat order.
I was thinking more of an explanation on the player's side, so maybe like a difficulty rating for the level of spell. Like if you're doing exactly what the spell says, then it's your straight roll. But if you're trying to manipulate it in some creative way, depending on how far it gets from what the spell is normally supposed to do, then it gets harder.
Sure.
Something like
Sure.
that. Just for the player to feel like they have some sort of grasp on why the numbers are different.
Sure.
Just an idea.
Oh yeah, no problem. What'd you think of the troll?
Interesting take on a troll. Now that you say it's a troll, it's like, no. It made sense in the story, but it was kind of like I was constantly trying to figure out what this was because
Okay, so that is one of the keys to me being a dungeon master. The more you know about what you're facing, the less fun that is. If you knew, for example, it was a troll, your approach to it would have been, well, we're going to hit it with fire, right?
Yeah.
Acid,
And
whatever.
right. So you shouldn't know all of the benefits of a creature or the effects of a creature until the first time you fight it.
yeah.
You know, once you actually engage with it, then you go, oh, its blood congeals and is trying to reform. That sounds like regeneration.
Yeah.
You guys were clever enough not to let that happen, because if you had, we'd had a troll attacking the little village of Quislings. You see, that was my point
Yeah.
is that if you'd have fought it, and that my original idea was that you would fight this thing, leave it for dead because you successfully killed it, and then as you're sitting here talking with the Quislings, there would have been a second fight scene.
Yeah, but we asked too many questions about the blood. And
No, that was fine. It fits
well, that's
exactly.
why we figured out why it
Right.
was
Right.
congealing.
But I do like the way you switched your name back to your question mark when you use your name tag. That was a nice
That's
move.
gonna be like what I do when I use my name tag because
Makes perfect sense.
yeah. No, I really enjoyed this. I really didn't have a problem with any of the mechanics wise. I was just kind of like, I need to play.
You notice we didn't have any hit points for the troll. We just rationally explained why things happen. I mean, even the smash of the party member against the tree. The only thing we didn't follow through on would have been that your fatigue comes back in minute increments. You get
okay.
10 points per
That
minute of real time.
That was my other question. I, as a player, was when Xavier got hit and when Helio got hit, I was trying to figure out, okay, how is he doing damage? But I didn't want to say anything at that time because it didn't seem important at that time. Now that we're kind of talking about it, I was.
Right, because I didn't assign any damage to you per se, but that's really because the creature was actually trying to get past you to the spellcasters who were hurting it.
That's my other question, is that if we do combat, not like we did today, but in the cadre way, how would we have the problem-solving nature of this sort of combat with an unknown creature?
What do you mean?
Because if we do what I've understood as the normal cadre way of each of us explain what we want to do, and there's a single roll to do it, to try to speed up combat.
Okay, so that doesn't speed up combat, that speeds up engagement. And what I mean by that is, let's take the example of this troll. Had you guys discovered where it was, if what's the name hadn't cried out and let it know you were in the area, let's say you snuck up on it, you could plan out how to take it out without it being able to fight, right? Because you'd have caught it by complete surprise and then done your thing to it. But those things would have only basically given you a chance to do first round of damage or whatever. And if what you're asking is, does it completely eliminate combat? It does not. It only allows for the expedition of the mundane portions of it. So,
So we're still looking for a way to speed up combat?
no, I think it went fine. Don't you think as far as speed today?
Yeah.
I felt like the combat today was done with a party, how combat should be done with a party of people who actually know how to play the characters.
That is actually.
Which is exactly what you want. I'm not sure. When I say again, like I said, without any quote hit points to the creature, we didn't track how many hits to kill it and that kind of stuff. We were able to flow through the encounter from a visually logical standpoint without it.
Okay. Maybe I'm not seeing the difference because that's just how I do D&D combat anyways.
No, but you don't. Well, okay, but normal D&D, You sit there and have to track how many hit points the creature has and all that. And I know you shift, like you said, you shift based on the success failure of the planning of the characters, which means you're fundamentally playing cadre anyway. You just don't really see it that way because you think you've got a perception of what you think cadre does. All that cadre provides is a way to handle a holistic approach to an action, so you don't have to go through the microcosm of, okay, what are you doing this round? Well, I'm just continuing to sneak.
We're not micromanaging.
Right.
It's basically what it comes down to. But
I don't know if I'm being clear enough. When you're thinking of the pool principle and things like that, those are referring to resolving large scale actions in a short period of time.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea of a great example, you've seen Magnificent Seven.
Well, yeah, I know what you're talking about. We've done it before. I was just thinking that it's usually presented in one of the most frustrating things is the time consumption of fight scenes in D&D. So I guess I just always merged the two.
I think you automatically do. I think that you haven't realized how much of a slog it is to. If I put that troll at 107 hit points and you guys are doing 3 to 6 points of damage per attack, it would take that fight scene would have taken forever. That's what I'm getting at.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I mean,
No, it's fine. I'm not. I was just pointing out. I don't think it went bad at all.
no.
It went great. I'm just pointing out.
Well, Gene, how did you feel about it? Gene fall asleep?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I had my mic thing up. I was sucking on a lifesaver. I was saying that I think it went very smoothly. And I think it kept us, the interest up because we did what we did and then watched what they did and then, decided what was our next best move, continue doing what you're doing or do something else. Well, for me, it was to move in to get a good range and shoot again.
Oh, that was the other thing I wanted to ask about.
Yeah.
Is how was I wrong to jump in and try to assist his attack like that? It was successful and helped, but how does that work with the economy of action in this style of play?
Okay.
I don't see why not. Wouldn't you as a party member do your best to help a party member?
Right. Okay, so this is where the cadre stuff makes the difference. Because of the fact that it was his action and you were just adding a modifier to it, that's why I gave such an insignificant modifier to it. If you guys had collectively said, okay, we're going to hit him high and you're going to hit him low at the beginning of that round, then the two of you would have rolled your percentages for success failure to make sure you drew it to look upward or whatever, and then he would have rolled his percentage to try to finish it off coup de grace. Therefore, it would have been a collaborative action without having to go through each action independently. So
well, I liked the collaborative stuff I was able to do with this character. I felt like I was more successful and was bringing the party together, and that was funner for me to add my little things to help
right.
the other players.
Right.
And I wanted to see if that was something to be
promoted. Yes.
Right.
It should be. It should be as long as it makes sense.
It doesn't steal the show from them or anything.
Right. Well, and also as long as it makes sense. Like, so for example, if you had, expended a really powerful spell to do something really ridiculous and then tried to help, I might have balked a little bit more at you helping him. But as long as it's
I had just failed my other spell entirely. It was completely useless. So
right.
I was like, I haven't really done anything, so help your sword.
Right. Yep. That was that to me that's perfectly fine. As a matter of fact, that's the other side of that. I think is that you could actually let's say you were trying to get under like for example, you tried the 1% spell, and if let's say you'd rolled an aught 4 instead of an aught 3, and you'd been that much closer, then I might have allowed somebody.
7.
I know that's still off a long way from aught 1. Yeah. So.
Well, comparatively, it's only 4% away from.
It's
20%. That's as close as someone's likely gonna get, honestly.
Oh, what's that? No,
That's
he,
as close as
one
someone's gonna get.
the 1 in 100
90%.
shot should be a 1 in 100 shot. That's the only reason why I left it the way I did. Is that what you were asking to do was really on the fringe of impossible. So a 1% chance is more than you would have readily, So I
Well,
thought
what
it was.
so impossible about it, just from my understanding. Because I thought it was.
You were
not.
trying to extract a part of its essential nature.
Mhm.
It wasn't that it builds up a pool of ethereal energy and then uses the ethereal energy as attack form. You're actually attacking its cellular level at the cellular level.
This was after it was already dead, and I was just trying to solidify it in the world so that they could.
But that requires you to isolate and eliminate a part of its essence. The whole point of it being a creature that can
Regenerate.
was because it's not fully in this plane.
Hmm.
I basically I'm explaining metaphysically how it regenerates, and you were trying to take away its regenerative capability when it's part of its essence. That's
Okay.
why I made it so low. Like I said, if it had a pool of essence that it was going to draw against for some special attack, like a better example, if you'd use that, say, on a dragon that was about to breathe on you, I might argue a higher percentage because it has just that. It's pulling a part of the essence out of one realm and pumping it into another. That's why a dragon can breathe fire. It's actually pulling into the plane of Fuerga.
Fire.
Right. And so therefore it would arguably work better on a dragon. But the troll's very essence, the one thing that makes it a troll is that it can regenerate. So you're trying to take away its one essential exigent characteristic.
Well, my intent was not to, break it in that sort of way. My intent was to
Make it so it wouldn't
Make
die,
it
wouldn't be
more-
able to regenerate.
to put it into blunt D&D terms was to lower its because it was already dead at that point, was to lower its corpse's DC so that they could interact with it better as the hunter people, because they were trying to identify it, and I was trying to you're saying that it's kind of ethereal, you can't quite see it quite right, it doesn't look like anything you've seen, so I was trying to.
No, I was only describing that because they hadn't fought a troll before. That's all.
Well, I know, I was just talking about intent, so maybe if you had come back at me and say, so you're not really trying to shred it, it would make more sense if you tried it.
Right. You didn't make it clear what
Yes.
you were attempting. What I heard was you're trying to take away from it the material that makes it essentially what it is. But that's a game master's choice. So setting a number and holding you to the number is not I don't think that's a flaw to the system.
No, I was just
Wondering.
unpacking that situation.
Sure.
I really the thing is, I didn't feel like I had any issues with this today. I've had issues with understanding cadre in the past, but this one, no, it went quite smoothly. Maybe because we're not going into we are going into detail, but not.
The difference is that this one we started off with pure cadre. We didn't try to come from D&D and then change it to cadre stuff.
Right. He's
So you weren't undoing your D&D knowledge and fighting it to get this to make sense. You're just, this is what it is.
Okay, so
Oh, you're picking coconuts off the tree. I want some.
yeah. No, I'm picking up a cell phone off the beach over here.
It looked like he was picking right off that tree right there where the coconuts are.
Crunchy.
Yes.
Oh, what a lovely bunch of coconuts.
But does that make sense?
yeah.
Well, like I said, his experience, he actually tried to play in a couple of different, specifically cadre events, and it was confusing because I was utilizing the percentage system exclusively. So.
Yeah.
Well, we only use percentages this time too.
Right, but at least I gave, like I said, the one thing I did do this time that I haven't done before was gave the information about
This is where you
Why?
start.
why the modifiers occur.
Why we're getting these modifiers.
So it felt less arbitrary.
Right.
Refining is happening. The furnace is beginning to work.
I need to figure out what I'm going to do for a mattress tonight.
Yep, I got to get going because I got to go find out why my car didn't get fixed today. They told me it would be here today, so it didn't get done.
So is mine. Supposed to be
If
by
you
5
did
o'clock.
you just get this air mattress, Gene?
Last night.
Then I
That's
would return
simple.
it because if it's not staying pumped, then that's just a flaw with the air mattress. Shouldn't be doing that at all. I sleep on air mattresses all the time. I bring them with me anytime I travel, actually, because my back just hurts too bad if I sleep on like a
Yeah,
hotel
regular.
bed or whatever.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
I got to get going.
Okay.
Nice talking to you guys.
See you
Thanks for
later,
the
John.
game. Thanks to all of you that watched the stream, and we'll see you next